Hey everyone, we're here on our live, unedited, uncensored, no special effects weekly YouTube live session where we answer all of your immigration based questions and obviously guide you. Today, we're talking about Prince Edward Island, one of the most undervalued provinces for immigration in all of Canada. Is this the right province for you to study, work, and or invest? Well, one of the fastest nomination processing under the business immigration stream in this province. No work experience mandatory for international graduates to be nominated for PR by a local employer. Access to the Atlantic Immigration Program, Provincial Nominee Program, and Express Entry. What else could you ask for? My own in laws immigrated through this province, so it does have a special place in my heart. The raw truth and nothing but the truth. Expect nothing less in our weekly live stream, which we're doing today. Let's get going. Quick introduction. If you don't know me, who am I? I'm Reza from Immigrate Canada, licensed immigration practitioner, and our office helps and specializes in business immigration to help people and families move across borders. Is this what I do for a living nonstop? No, I'm not an actual full-time YouTuber, but I work hands-on with our licensed team, working on actual applications and communicating with the immigration departments and overseas embassies on a daily basis on behalf of our clients and the clients of some of our B2B partners. Why are we posting this video? These are made for the purpose of sharing our hands-on immigration knowledge with our worldwide audience, including but not exclusive to existing clients, potential new applicants, and immigration consultants and agencies, whether inside or outside of the country. And if you're thinking about immigrating, we're here to help. Get a free email assessment for eligible applicants only by filling out the form just down below. And of course, if you're an active immigration practitioner, whether inside or outside Canada, we'd be happy to collaborate and assist you with outsourcing your back office operations. So let's get to it, folks. The beautiful and small province of Prince Edward Island has a PNP draw every month for their skilled immigration applicants, and every 2 months, like clockwork, for their entrepreneur business immigration applicants. They even have a schedule of upcoming draws for their PNP. Who has that? Not even the federal government or any other province has an upcoming clear schedule of draws on what days and weeks and the months for the whole year. Which other province in all of Canada actually has a photo, name, phone number, and email address of the executive director of the provincial nominee program? Well, PEI does, Prince Edward Island. Her name is Erin McGrath Gaude. I hope I pronounced that right. And you can reach her out to her if you have any serious concerns or issues. Obviously not if you're just asking about program requirements, because they have a general email and phone, but that's how transparent and organized this province is. Do not underestimate this province as a destination for your immigration. We love these 3 programs as our top 3 programs for PR in Prince Edward Island. The PR programs available for international students in the province, the skilled worker streams, which has over 7 substreams, and will specifically look at the programs for applicants without proof of language or who didn't study in the province. And of course, last but not least, the Entrepreneur Business Immigration Program, which has an excellent timeline and processing time for nomination and for permanent residency in Canada. Let's start with the direct PR programs for international students in the province as our number 1 program. It's the International Graduate Direct PR Program. No work experience required and no proof of language ability if you have a permanent job offer from a PEI employer, have graduated from a publicly funded Prince Edward Island post-secondary program where you've obtained a degree or diploma, and have a valid postgraduate work permit, and are working in skill level tier 0, 1, 2, 3, which is the equivalent of the old NOC 0A or B. And if case you're working in a lower skill level, you'll still qualify, except you do need to provide a language exam score. But if you're in the higher professional skills in the 0, 1, 2, 3, which means Typically, they're the ones that are eligible for express entry also. You don't need proof of language if your employer is sponsoring you and you're going through the PNP program here in Prince Edward Island, right? So this is an excellent program for international graduates, no experience. And if you're in the right occupation, no language exam necessary. What if you didn't study in the province of Prince Edward Island and have found or planning to find a job opportunity there for your permanent Canadian immigration? No problem. You have these options available to. Well, we've got the specific occupations in demand, which only require a high school diploma from anywhere in the world, 1 year experience in the related occupation anywhere in the world, and a language exam score of CLB4, Canadian Language Benchmark 4, which is the lowest. Can't get any lower than that. If you have a full-time job offer as a nurse aide, material handler, construction laborer, helper, light duty cleaner, manufacturing, processing, process control, and machine operators in the food beverage industry, industrial butchers and meat cutters, and transport truck drivers. These are the lower skill levels, but if you have a job offer and you have work experience anywhere in the world with a CLB4 language, you can be nominated through this program. What if you're not in these positions that I just described? Well, that's fine. Prince Edward Island has something for everyone. If you're in the lower skill job and not in these specific lower skill jobs like tier level 4 and 5, if your employer can bring you inside the country on an LMI work permit and you work for them for minimum 6 months, then they can potentially sponsor you through the critical work stream, which requires a CLB4, 2 years work experience anywhere in the world, or direct education related to that field in the last 5 years. So if you don't have the work experience, if you've got education that is directly linked to that job in the last 5 years, you can be exempt from the work experience. Come here, 6 months, work on an LMI for the employer, and voila, you're good to go. And of course, if you don't have experience for the employer, for this employer, and you work for another employer in the same occupation in Canada on a closed LMI work permit, you can still be sponsored by a new PEI employer under the tier occupation level 4 in the intermediate experience stream. So you don't need to be working for the PEI employer, but let's say you're working on a closed work permit somewhere else in the province, a PEI employer is planning to hire you. Well, under this program, that is possible. Literally, there's a program for everyone because they want to attract skilled talent, all sorts of skill levels to the province. No matter from where you want to apply, whether it's inside or outside Canada, whatever occupation, they literally have it covered all. It's that simple. And of course, for higher skill level jobs, the skilled worker inside PEI is simple as any other program. You're working for your employer already in the province, no minimum duration. They're happy with your language ability, confirming that no language exam is required, and you have valid status inside the country with 2 years work experience from anywhere in the world in that occupation. You can also be nominated. So it doesn't have to be in the lower skill level, it can be in the higher skill level. You don't need to have graduated, and you don't need to have proof of language if your employer is confirming to the PNP office that, hey, they know how to communicate and we're happy with it and they can perform their job correctly. Remember, we're always posting about these key details for skilled immigration and business and investment programs. And if that's what you're interested in, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel for more deep dive videos. But last but not least, the business immigration program for the province of Prince Edward Island. What's so special about this provincial nominee entrepreneur program for this province? It's very simple. To many other provinces, entrepreneur business programs, that it's similar to all of them, right? It starts with a work permit and concludes with a PR nomination after you've completed and run your business for continuously for 12 months inside the province. This is why we like this program. We believe it's one of the top programs for Canadian PRs for entrepreneurs. You will receive a nomination certificate anywhere from 2 to 4 months max, which is one of the fastest in Canada. Other provinces can take up to 6 months after you've done all that work to nominate you for PR. If you work and live in the main city of Charlottetown, the Prince Edward Island PNP office will literally be 1 or 2 blocks away from you. meaning that you'll know the PNP officers by their first name. Maybe you're having coffee or tea at the same place. It's a very small community, very supportive of anyone planning to reside there. No post-secondary education is mandatory under this entrepreneur program. Proof of language is only required at a Canadian language benchmark of 4, which is in either English or French, which is the lowest score you can possibly go for. And if you studied in a post-secondary program or country which was completely in English or French, you can claim points and eligibility under the language exam scoring matrix without actually providing the language exam. If you have a community endorsement letter, you're almost guaranteed to be invited if you meet the minimum eligibility, of course. And it's a minimum investment of $150,000 and a lot of flexibility in terms of how you spend 50% of it compared to the capital expenditures of the first $75,000, unlike other provinces, which are much more strict. Run the business for 12 months and submit your post-landing report right after. Get ready for that quick PR nomination. The PNP website even has a database of listed businesses for sale in that province eligible for the PNP Entrepreneur Program. No other province has taken this initiative, which I think makes it much simpler and painless for potential new entrepreneurs to go through this process if they wish to identify and purchase an existing business to start their entrepreneur program in this province. They also have local contacts in the PEI on behalf of the government called the Business Navigator, who helps local business owners in the province. An actual human being helping you with your business. Whoa, that is mind-boggling. A human being in this day and age helping somebody else on behalf of a province in Canada, you cannot find that in any province. Of course, like all programs, and because we've dedicated our life as a video stream for the raw truth and nothing but the truth, we do have to go through some of the disadvantages or drawbacks of this program as well. No program is perfect. Of course not. Here's the areas of improvement I think the PEI should look into, which I'm not a big fan of, but it's no criticism. However, these may restrict certain applicants from applying. There is an age limitation. So many provinces do not have age limitations. Prince Edward Island does. It's limiting applicants from the age of 18 to 59 only. So tough luck if you are 60 and you're not even eligible to apply for any program if you're under the age of 18, which makes you a minor. For some applicants, this may be a challenge. It is a 100% employer-driven program for skilled immigration. So you cannot immigrate to this province for your PR if you're not employed by a local company or start a business as an entrepreneur, unlike some other provinces which do have a points-based system or family ties system, which allows certain occupations the opportunity to immigrate. The PNP fees for the skilled immigration stream are $300. Nova Scotia, for example, doesn't have any fees, but it is still considered as one of the lower fees across Canada. The PNP Business Entrepreneur Stream costs $10,000 for the application processing for the province. It is the highest processing fee anywhere in Canada. But I have to say, it's definitely worth it if you're looking for a smooth transition to your PR and with a PNP office that is responsive, available a block away. I mean, it can't get much easier than that, okay? It's still considered one of the most pro-immigration provinces in all of Canada, also being the smallest in the whole country. I highly recommend it for anyone who's looking for peace of mind, no surprises, 100% support from the local PNP office and community, health and safety always being at the top if you want to settle there with your family. If you like immigration hacks, creative immigration solutions, or key analysis of immigration policies and updates, you can always click to subscribe to our YouTube channel just below. And of course, if you're thinking about immigrating, whether permanently or temporarily, you're at the right place. I can guarantee only one point. You will know what to expect, the entire process clearly laid out for you, and all the risks identified, including costs. Our legal agreements are based on payment milestones, which are linked directly to your application progression. We do not take 100% advance payment for business immigration clients. We have a $1 million liability insurance, which protects you and us from fraud or mistakes, as well as a dedicated client trust account with our Canadian banks. Our team speaks over 9 languages, and we help applicants from over 50 different countries during their immigration process. Click the link below this video and get a free assessment for eligible applicants only. And if you're ready to apply, you want to book a one-on-one session with me or any of my licensed immigration team members at Ingwe, you can also use the consultation link included in this description of this video to do the booking. And of course, you want to test drive us and test our knowledge before you book with us. Well, tune in on YouTube every Thursday live at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where we answer all of your immigration questions for free on the spot. And of course, we are here in our YouTube, and we're going to acknowledge everyone who's here right now and say hello to some of our regular audience members. Bhupinder, you're first in line. Good morning, Reza. Good evening, Bhupinder. I don't know if you're connecting from India, but good evening to you. Good to see you. Ravneet Kaur. Hi, Reza. Ravneet, good to see you. RK Ratul Hassan. Hi, Reza. RK Ratul. Welcome. Ravneet Kaur. Couldn't join your session as I was in India on holidays. I hope you enjoyed the holidays, Ravneet. Ratul Hassan, is there any easy PR pathway program for international students for 1 year study? Nova Scotia or New Brunswick? Atlantic is definitely the best. The places to avoid are like BC and Ontario. They're the worst for these kinds of programs. But Nova Scotia is great because if you have an employer who sponsors you, you can just start working for them, be nominated, and it's not specific to the duration of your studies. New Brunswick has great programs too. I think we've done some videos on that. And of course, Prince Edward Island is great. Manitoba is really good. Alberta is good too, and Saskatchewan. Those are my favorites. Atlantic, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Alberta. Where would I live in one of these provinces? Ooh, you should be watching the videos to know which provinces I would actually live in and not just recommend for immigration. Pat Puri, hi Reza. 4 people in a startup program. All of the required documents are ready except 1 non-essential member's IELTS. None can apply for a PR work permit. Yes, Potpourri, the designated organization may come and say, that's fine, as long as you've got a booking for your language exam. I'll give you the letters of support, but maybe not. But you cannot apply. The date of application, you should have a valid language exam in either English or French accepted by the immigration department. Okay, so you've got to wait. The PR is first, then the work permit. So if you can't even apply for PR, you have to wait for that essential member. And of course, just in case that essential member cannot provide the language exam score you require for them to be able to apply, you can remove them and ask the designated organization to reissue the letters of support so the rest of the group can go forward. Of course, this person can still be a shareholder, but they're not part of the startup visa immigration program. Again, make sure you meet all the eligibility criteria, controlling stake of the business, who owns the patent and the IP. All these things should be considered. But again, you cannot apply for PR for, all of them can apply for PRs, right? Except that essential member. But then you can't do work permit for any of them. Plus, imagine everyone applies and then one of your essential members just stays back for a year and doesn't get their IELTS. Well, that's a problem. So don't take the risk. JTRCF Channel Dubai, Canada. Wow. Long name, but I like it. Good to see you again as well. Ravneet Kaur, hi Reza. Is there any update or news about implementation of the 3-year open work permit rule? Have people started to get 3-year open work permits? If not, when do you expect those to implement? Ravneet, great question. Nothing has been announced. As we all know, the new Ministry of Immigration, he's just figuring out what's happening. Nobody in the startup visa program has received an open work permit option yet. We do expect nothing in August because August is the month where everyone takes holidays, except me. And IRCC will start getting back to work in September onwards. So September to November is when you can expect something. Nashvan Ali, hi Reza. If someone is an open work permit accompanying his spouse who has a specific closed work permit under startup visa, can that person work either full or part-time for that SUV and pay dividends, not payroll? Okay, Nashwan Ali, from what I understand about your question is that you have a startup visa applicant with a closed work permit inside Canada. They have a spouse or common law partner who has an open work permit based on their eligibility. Can the spouse or common law partner work for the startup visa business for which the principal applicant is working and be paid dividend or payroll? The beauty is, so here's the answer, Nashwan. The beauty is, with an open work permit, you can do anything that is legal. You can work, not work. You can work part-time. You can work full-time. You can start your own business. You can work for your spouse's startup business. You could be getting dividends. Make sure that if they are a shareholder, right, it is within the structure that's allowed within startup visa. Okay, they can be payroll. They can get management bonuses. Whatever is legally allowed. Okay, as long as the shareholder structure of all the members within the principal applicants of the startup visa program are adhered to, then the spouse has an open work permit. They can do whatever they want. Nikki Patel, hello, sir. Hello, Nikki. Good morning. Fahime Rafi, hello, Reza. Hello, Fahime. Nice to see you. Patpuri, thanks for productive, informative videos. Thank you, Patpuri, for the positive feedback and great question that you posted. I love great questions, by the way. It makes my blood tingle, you know. Yeah, I don't want to start dancing now. Okay. Amir Shikari, how can I search about available businesses? What can be bought with 150,000? Well, in Prince Edward Island, Amir, there's a lot of opportunity. So go to the Prince Edward Island Immigration PNP website. You go under the business immigration. They have a link called Businesses for Sale. Okay, you click on it. They have a database. You search the industry, the name, whatever, and you start contacting them directly, and they will respond. Well, maybe not in August, maybe not on holiday, but they will respond. It's pretty cool. Keep in mind that if you do want to buy a business, you got to do an exploratory trip. So that would be a restriction in case you don't have a visa or you think it would be difficult to get a visa. But there are ways around that as well. Nikki Patel, sir, do you have any idea about which months or years files are under process of startup visa? So to keep everyone updated, because we represent a lot of applicants in the startup visa space, end of November 2021, they've gotten their PR numbers. We are seeing early 2022 now. Okay, so right now they're processing second half of 2021 and first quarter 2022. Okay, that's what we're seeing right now. The majority. It doesn't mean that you can get, maybe there's somebody in July 2022, or still there's somebody in 2020 that's under process. They are still under process, but we're seeing permanent file numbers being issued for second half 2021 and being processed, some of them, right? Decisions, and first quarter 2022 being under process. So I've been seeing January 2022 actually being processed. Okay. And the reason we have all these data points is because all these consultations we do, all these representations that we do, probably over 50 startup groups that we represent or consult or advise. And that's how we know, depending on your nationality, your designated organization, and at what point you have your PR temporary file numbers. This is an indication of what's happening in the market right now. So Nikki Patel, I hope that's given you some insight. It does not mean that you will 100% get your permanent file numbers or start being processed immediately if you're within that timeline. It just means, okay, there's some people that are back of the line within that time frame, some that are available, but they're going through them one by one because there's a big backlog. Amir Shikari says, for studying, which provinces do you recommend to get PR easily? Okay, let's start with the ones I don't recommend. Ontario and BC, unless in BC you go to the international graduate stream and you study at the specific programs which allow you to apply for direct PR after graduation. Okay, the provinces I like are Manitoba. I like the Atlantic provinces, Nova Scotia, because it has no points, right? Manitoba, because if you work for the employer for 6 months after that, it's a done deal. Saskatchewan, because even while you're a student, they allow you certain duration of your work experience as a student to be included as your eligibility for the PNP. The Atlantic Immigration Program, which is the, Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, Newfoundland, and Nova Scotia, the 4 Atlantic provinces. Because in the Atlantic Immigration Program, if you have a designated employer, and employers can easily be designated. Okay, so if they're not, they could be. Even your work experience, if you graduated from a Atlantic publicly funded institution, can be counted towards eligibility towards the AIP. But there's so many great provinces and there's so many bad provinces. Alberta is a great province. It is booming, folks. There's huge demand, lots of businesses coming there. It is hot. It is on fire. Okay, and they have a lot of great programs there too. Plus, many of these provinces like Manitoba, like Alberta, like a lot of Atlantic provinces have an international graduate entrepreneur program. So if you study and you're a mature student and you don't want to be hired or go find a job, you just start your own business and you could go through the provincial nominee program. So great options available. Just make sure you stay away from the difficult ones. Like I said, like you don't want to go onto, unless, here's an exception, you go to the rural program. But again, the rural program has to be renewed. It's expiring early next year. But if you do study in the rural program, that is an excellent option to be sponsored by the Rural Northern Immigration Pilot Program. Psalm 91, good morning, Reza from BC. Psalm 91, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us today. Nashwan Ali, hi Reza, do you think that the processing times for startup visa will be longer, i.e. 5 years or more, or it will be between 18 to 24 months, as some people say there are a lot of people who have applied for the SUV program? Nashwan, this is what's going to happen. The processing times are coming down. Okay, so they're not going to go to 5 years. That'll be a joke. Okay, it's not going to happen. The Ministry of Immigration, the Ministry of Immigration, they've all communicated that there's been a lot of feedback and they want to fast track processing. But what's going to happen is they're going to have 2 tracks, which I've mentioned before in my videos. Ones that are designated organizations that have committed financially to invest, or they're part of the Canada Tech Network, right? And they will be processed within that, let's say, 15 months time frame, maybe, right? But the ones that are not might go into the 2.5-year processing time, right? So there's a lot of people applying, but they're going to limit the number of letters of support next year. They're going to do a lot of restrictions. They're going to prioritize certain designated organizations, and certain ones are not going to be prioritized. So that's the difference. So you're going to see faster processing in some groups and slow as usual in others. Nikki Patel, as I have applied in September 2021 and yet to receive update from RCS. Okay, Nikki. So you will receive it this year. You will receive a permanent file number. An officer, a human officer, will actually start looking at your file and ask for updated information and documentation for you. So be ready. Nikki Bhupinder, my daughter applied for PNP on 12th March, still waiting. Ooh, that's Bhupinder, that's a long. I mean, what is that? April, May, June, July. That's 5 months. That is pretty slow. I hope she meets all the eligibility criteria, Bhupinder, because that is, any idea when can she get it? I mean, usually 4 or 5 months. The longest any PNP takes is 6 months, which is sometimes in these bigger provinces. Manitoba should not be that slow. I mean, double check everything. And Bhupinder, just so you know, the Manitoba PNP is really accessible. She can go there, call them, and just check. It's actually, they're very supportive. So just make sure she's done everything correctly and she's eligible. Ghazi Tarek, hello Reza. Could a 1-year gap between a transferring to another college affect PGWP eligibility upon degree completion? Yes. Because if you weren't doing anything in that 1 year, you were not out, you were inside the country, you were not studying, and you had a study permit, yes, that can affect it. Okay. Usually you can get authorized leave, 150 days. There can be a gap, but if it's beyond that, it can affect your PGWP. So 12 months, yes, that can affect it. Ravneet Kaur, thank you for answering my question, Reza. I will drop your name soon. Hope you remember, hint, hint. Ravneet, no problem. Yeah, send me an email. I will be handling files, as I said, but of course, if I see your email, I will respond. You always know there's a few days here and there, but I will respond eventually. Psalm 91, Can we include the number of hours of work as a student in the counting of the days applied for any PR program for BC PNP? No, so Psalm 91. So, like, you don't need to meet, I don't understand the question actually. Can we include the number of hours of work as a student in the counting of days applied for PR program? Oh, okay. No, BCPMP does not allow paid work experience for the provincial nominee program while you were inside Canada as a student. Okay. Amob Zahir. Hello, sir. I don't have any relatives or friends in Canada. My CRS score, comprehensive ranking score in express entry, is almost 460. Can you advise me the best option to get a provincial nomination certificate to increase my CRS score? It's tough. Amob, you can look at Saskatchewan to see if you're in the in-demand occupations, you get enough points. Otherwise, you have to find an employer that could potentially is interested in hiring you. So it is tough to get a provincial nomination or an LMIA from an employer that wants to sponsor you. And you have no family ties, makes it difficult. Have a look at Saskatchewan, then wait around for some programs that IRCC will open for specific IT tech occupations that are allowed to come on an open work permit in the future, or maybe even the digital nomad visa. Because remember, you're inside the country, you can find an employer. You're outside the country, very difficult. Ravneet Kaur, Reza, I received my UCI number earlier this year for start of visa. How can I check if the main office is going to handle my PR application or will be processed by the minions? Ravneet, there's no way to know until you get the request letter from IRCC. So it doesn't actually on your progress on your PR portal, it doesn't actually say who's doing it or what office. As soon as you get a request letter from IRCC, you will potentially see the who's doing it, right? Is it the minions or is it the terminators? Bhuvinder, yes, everything is correct. As we got a call last week, some officers talked to her and her employer and told she will get nomination in a month. Wow. Maybe it's because it's a holiday season, Bhupinder, because usually it should not take 6 months, right? It should really not take 6 months to get a nomination for in Manitoba. If it's in Ontario, yeah, sure, that's normal sometimes. But that is maybe there's holiday period, maybe they're busy. Because Bhuvan, they're making all these changes in the program there too. So I don't know how that's affecting it. Ghazi Tarek, do you recommend to study in New Brunswick Private Career College for PR pathway? Yeah, I mean, if you have to, I mean, you can still study in a public college, do any occupation, and still be eligible for some provincial nominee Atlantic immigration programs. The difference with private colleges is you're not eligible for postgraduate work permit, but you have to go in that specific occupation and be sponsored. So it's not really what I would suggest as your first, option. Nashvan Ali, thank you for your answer. When the startup visa applicant would be receiving inquiries from IRCC after receiving the permanent PR application? No. Does that happen after all the applicants receive that? Yeah, so after you receive the permanent file number that starts with E, you will receive slowly. Sometimes it takes a month, sometimes it takes 4 months. But usually within a little bit of time, you start receiving request letters, and it's not in perfect order, but all the members within, couple week time frame do receive them at the same time. So if you receive it first, within the same week, next week, or the following week, the others will receive it as well. In most cases, 90% of the time. We all know startup visa is very an imperfect program. So a lot of different things happen. Ravneet, I'm going to watch your video Significant Benefit and prepare the cover letter according to thanks for making the wonderful stuff available to us. Ravneet, no problem. So quick piece of advice. Look at the initiatives that the federal government or provincial government or even municipalities have wherever you're setting up your business or startup, right? And look at how those initiatives link or overlap with your startup business. And that was also a way of showing that your business will have significant benefit. Okay. Bhupinder, thanks a lot, dear. No problem, Bhupinder. Good luck to you and your daughter. Let me know. We're looking forward to the good news that your daughter will be nominated. And of course, folks, we're here every Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, to help our audience in terms of general program guidance and answering questions. Don't take this as a consultation, but this is just let's say, a general talk and guidance and myth busting, what's happening, what's not. Mariam, nice to see you, sir. Mariam, nice to see you as well. We're here every week, Thursdays, 11 a.m. So you can tune in on our YouTube. And if you're watching this later on, the recorded version, you're like, what is this guy talking about? Well, we've got people on YouTube comments, chat box, and we're just answering and replying to them. It's a nice little community, and that's what we do every Thursday on the dot at 11 local time here in Toronto. Anything related to immigration, we'd be happy to help you. If there's no more questions, we're going to sign out. Angel, Angel, you came late to the program today. No, I'm just kidding. Nice to see you, Angel. Nice to see you. Angel is one of our regular audience members here, community members. Let's call them community members, that is participating and contributing. And that's what a community is. Psalm 91. Continued. The students started a full-time work in November and graduated in May, got a PGWP in May. Work student status and graduated in May. Got a PGWP in May as well. The county work experience starts when they become full-time under PGWP. Yeah, Psalm 91. So if you're a graduating student from an eligible institution where you can apply for postgraduate work permit, your work experience under the provincial nominee programs, except Saskatchewan, and the rural northern immigration program, and the Atlantic immigration program, except those, starts when you apply for your postgraduate work permit. Okay, so the day you submit it, we usually like to count the day after, and that time till the postgraduate work permit is issued for you, maybe 4 or 5 months, counts as work experience that you can use in PNP and BC. Okay, I know work under student doesn't count. Yeah, except those 3 exceptions I told you. And I should do a video about that. So I'll make a note that we should do a video about when work experience as a student actually counts for Canadian immigration. Ayodeji Adeniran. Hi. Hello, Ayodeji. How are you? Nice to see you. We're about to wrap up if there's not a lot of questions today. Ravneet says, okay, thank you, sir. No problem, Ravneet. Thanks for everyone for joining us today in our YouTube live, unedited, raw, no special effects, no censoring. Bhupinder, Ravneet, Ratul, Hassan, Potpuri, of course, JTRCF Channel Dubai, Canada, Nishwan Ali, Nikki Patel, Fahime, Amir Shikari, of course, who can forget him? And who else? Ghazi Tarek, thank you. Amob Zahir, and that's it. And Mariam, of course. And last but of course not least, Angel. She's always here. Ayodeji, thank you for joining us too. Angel, one of our groups got an AOR last week and they had to apply for the PL in January 2023. I'm not surprised, Angel, because I've seen them process from the back end to the front end. So because they're trying to process it faster. So these stories do come up once. It's not very, very common. But for example, I remember early 2023, there was a group that got that actually got a decision under PR in October 2022. So they applied in October 22 and winter 2023, they were processed. So there's certain applications that are they're processing from the back end, but it's random, right? So you can't tell people, oh, you applied, March 2023 or April, you're going to get your, acknowledgement ASAP, right? If it's a temporary file number, Angel, remember, it takes 6 months. So that timeline is always there to get the temporary file number, the acknowledgement. But the permanent file number, that takes much longer. So it could take a year or whatnot, right? So Psalm, thank you, Reza. Thank you. Psalm 91. Rinkal Patel Harosa, I applied for SUV in September 2021. When will I expect? You should expect it ASAP. Rinkal, expect a permanent file number this year. Expect an RCC request letter for updated information, progress report, updated personal information of you and all of your co-founders in your startup group. Okay. Abu Bakr and Maksamed, thanks, Reza. No problem, Abu Bakr. Thank you for joining our community, Thursday community. Psalm 91. What was the 3 exceptions? My brain's still rebooting, just got up. No worries. Yeah, I know it's BC's 3 hours back. So we are 9:41 a.m. right now. It's Atlantic Immigration Program if you studied there, Saskatchewan Nominee Program if you're studying and working there at the same time, and the Rural Immigration Northern Program, which literally gives you a work experience exemption. Okay, so it doesn't mean the work experience counts, it's just an exemption. Prince Edward Island, which we just covered too, also exempts of any work experience. So these are key provinces, folks, you should be careful about. Rinka says, thank you so much. No problem. Thanks, Angel, for letting us know. Angel always every week has some great, interesting news. And that's why I need you, Angel, to join every week and let us know what's happening. Because I'm not really tuned into all these like WhatsApp groups and Telegram groups. But just the people that we see or we're in contact with in our clientele and network. Well done, Muso Mekwa. Does truck driving, closed work permit processing have different waiting periods compared to other work permits? No, all work permits are pretty much similar. Well done. Ravneet, great piece of advice. Thanks very much. No problem, Ravneet. Take care, everyone. We will be back here next week on the dot, 11 a.m. Eastern time, which is local time here in Toronto. Back on YouTube, and we'll be covering the FAQ of Startup Visa, which is basically frequently asked questions. Every single question that exists out there about the Startup Visa, we will be covering next Thursday. And a lot of great programming coming up. So stay tuned to your TV, computer, laptop, tablet, or whatever it is. Okay. Thank you, Psalm 91. Thank you. Appreciate it, everyone. Angel, take care. Bhupinder, everyone, take care. Bye-bye, folks.